Violet's hand trembled as she reached out to the dusty antique clock in the dimly lit attic of her family's old Victorian home in Boston. The legend whispered among her ancestors claimed it revealed one's true soulmate upon a single touch. But she never believed in such superstitions. Until the gears whirred to life, and the fated dial pointed not to some stranger, but to a name etched in her heart, Vivian. In that instant, her world shattered. The clock's chime echoed through the house, alerting her conservative parents downstairs, who burst in demanding answers, their faces twisting in horror as they pieced together the forbidden truth she'd hidden for years. Violet froze, her pulse racing like a trapped bird in her chest. How could this happen? She'd come up here to escape the family dinner, the endless talk of her future husband, that her mother, Elaine, insisted on every Sunday. The attic was her sanctuary, filled with forgotten relics from generations past, but now it felt like a trap. The clock, a heirloom from her great-grandmother, sat on a rickety shelf, its brass face gleaming faintly under the single bulb. She'd touched it on a whim, mocking the old tale in her mind, soulmates? Ridiculous. But as the needle spun and landed on Vivian, a holographic projection flickered to life, displaying a photo from her phone's hidden album. Her and Vivian laughing at a coffee shop last summer. Her father, Robert, a stern lawyer with unyielding views on tradition, stormed up the stairs first. "What the hell is that noise?" he bellowed, his eyes narrowing at the clock. Elaine followed, her pearls clutching her neck like a noose. They saw the projection before Violet could shut it off. The intimate gaze between the two women, the way Vivian's arm draped casually over Violet's shoulder. "Vivian? As in your friend?" Elaine's voice cracked, laced with disbelief and dawning revulsion. Robert's face reddened. "This is some kind of joke. Tell me it's a joke, Violet." But it wasn't. Inside, Violet's thoughts swirled in chaos. "I've kept this buried for so long," she thought, "why now?" Vivian wasn't just a friend. She was the one person who made Violet feel alive in a world that demanded she play a role. Dutiful daughter, straight-A student, future wife to some approved man. They'd met in college at Harvard, bonding over late-night study sessions that turned into whispered confessions. Vivian, with her sharp wit and unapologetic spirit, had been the first to say it. "I think I'm falling for you." But Violet, terrified of her family's judgment, had pushed it down, insisting they remain just friends in public. Now the clock had outed her, forcing a confrontation she dreaded her entire life. "Violet, explain this," Robert demanded, his voice low and dangerous. She backed against the wall, words failing her. It's nothing, Dad." The clock malfunctioned. But even as she said it, guilt gnawed at her. Lying had become second nature, a shield against the disapproval she knew would come. Elaine's eyes filled with tears. "Is this why you've been avoiding setups? Why you never bring anyone home?" The accusation hung heavy, and Violet's mind raced to Vivian, probably waiting for her call tonight, oblivious to the storm brewing. That evening, as the family sat in tense silence around the dinner table, Violet's phone buzzed. It was Vivian. "Miss you already. Dinner soon." She stared at the screen, her heart aching. How could she drag Vivian into this mess? Her parents' world was one of church gatherings and country club brunches, where anything deviating from the norm was whispered about in scandal. Coming out would mean losing everything, her inheritance, her place in the family, perhaps even her job at the law firm where Robert was a partner. But hiding meant betraying herself, and worse, betraying Vivian, who deserved someone unafraid. The next morning, Violet drove to Vivian's apartment in Cambridge, the weight of the night pressing on her. Vivian opened the door, her eyes lighting up. "Hey, you look like hell. Rough night." Violet collapsed into her arms, the story spilling out in sobs. Vivian held her, but inside doubt flickered. She'd always known Violet's family was a barrier, but this? "We can fight this together," Vivian said, her voice steady. But Violet wondered at what cost. As days passed, the rift widened. Robert called a family meeting, inviting Violet's brother, Ethan, who arrived with his fiancée, clueless about the drama. "We love you, Vi," Ethan said, but his eyes betrayed confusion. Elaine suggested therapy, framing it as confusion from modern influences. Violet's inner turmoil intensified. "Am I confused or just scared?" She attended sessions reluctantly, the therapist probing her feelings, but each word felt like a betrayal of her truth. Vivian pushed for honesty. Tell them, Violet. Or are we just going to sneak around forever? Their arguments grew heated. Vivian accusing her of cowardice, Violet retorting about realism. One night, after a particularly brutal fight, Violet drove home in tears, questioning if love was worth the pain. The clock's revelation had ignited a fire, but now it threatened to consume everything. Violet stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, the bags under her eyes a testament to sleepless nights. Since the clock incident 2 weeks ago, her life had unraveled like a poorly knit sweater. Work at the firm became unbearable. Colleagues whispered, no doubt fueled by Robert's unsubtle hints about family issues. She avoided Vivian's calls, guilt twisting like a knife. How can I face her when I'm such a mess? She thought, splashing water on her face. The pressure from home was relentless. Elaine left pamphlets on overcoming unnatural urges, while Robert monitored her every move, insisting on family dinners where the air crackled with unspoken accusations. One afternoon, Vivian showed up at Violet's office unannounced, her presence a jolt. We need to talk, she said, pulling Violet into a conference room. Vivian's eyes, usually warm, were stormy. You're shutting me out. Is this because of your parents? Violet nodded, tears welling. They think it's a phase, Viv. If I push back, they'll cut me off. Vivian paced, frustration boiling. And what about us? Am I just a secret to you? The words stung, echoing Violet's deepest fear. That her love was tainted by cowardice. That evening, Violet confronted her parents. I love Vivian, she declared in the living room, her voice shaking but firm. Robert's face hardened. This isn't love, it's confusion. Our family has standards. Elaine wept. Think about your future, honey. Society won't accept this. The argument escalated, Robert invoking Bible verses, Elaine pleading about grandchildren. Violet's mind screamed. Why can't they see me? The rejection cut deep, a wound that festered. In the following days, Vivian suggested they move in together, away from the toxicity. We can start fresh in New York, she said over coffee. But Violet hesitated, visions of disinheritance haunting her. Ethan, sensing the divide, pulled her aside. Dad's talking about changing the will, he confided. The betrayal hit hard, her own brother, complicit in the pressure. Inside, Violet wrestled. Is family blood thicker than love? Tensions peaked at a family gathering. Vivian, invited by Violet in a bold move, arrived looking composed. But whispers followed. Who's that? Violet's roommate? Robert cornered Vivian. You're influencing my daughter. Vivian stood her ground. She's an adult. Respect her choices. The scene exploded, Robert ordering Vivian out. Elaine in hysterics. Violet, torn, followed Vivian to the door. I'm sorry, she whispered. Vivian's eyes filled with hurt. Choose, Violet. Them or us. Alone that night, Violet's thoughts churned. The clock had promised a soulmate, but at what price? She packed a bag, driving to Vivian's, only to find her gone a note. I can't wait forever. Panic surged. Had she lost her? Weeks blurred into isolation. Violet quit the firm, taking a low-paying job at a nonprofit, distancing from her family. Calls from Elaine went unanswered, each ring a reminder of the void. But freedom came with loneliness. She attended support groups, hearing stories of others' struggles, disownment, prejudice. One woman shared, I lost my parents but gained myself. It resonated, yet doubt lingered. Was it worth it? Vivian returned her calls sporadically, their conversations strained. I need space, Vivian said. Violet understood, but the ache was constant. A surprise visit from Ethan brought news. Mom's sick. She wants to see you. Guilt flooded Violet. Family or love? The choice loomed, a moral quagmire. Violet rushed to the hospital, her heart pounding as she navigated Boston's traffic. Elaine lay pale in the bed, hooked to machines after a minor heart scare. Stress-induced, the doctor said. Robert stood vigil, his eyes softening at Violet's arrival. She's been asking for you, he murmured. Inside the room, Elaine reached out. I'm sorry, Vi. I just want you happy. But the apology felt conditional, laced with pleas to reconsider. Violet's inner conflict raged. Can I forgive when the hurt runs so deep? Leaving the hospital, Violet called Vivian, voice breaking. Mom's ill. I have to be there. Vivian sighed. And where does that leave us? The distance grew, Vivian immersing in work as a graphic designer, dating casually to fill the void. News of Vivian seeing someone else reached Violet through mutual friends, a punch to the gut. Jealousy mixed with regret. I pushed her away. Society's weight pressed harder. At a pride event Violet attended alone. She felt out of place amid the celebrations. Strangers shared triumphs, but her story was mired in loss. Coming out cost me my job, one said. But I'd do it again. Violet pondered. Would I? Back home, Robert offered reconciliation if she got help. The temptation was real. Financial security versus authenticity. A turning point came during a heated therapy session. The counselor challenged. What do you want, Violet? Tears streamed. Vivian. But without losing everything. The realization hit. Love demanded sacrifice. She confronted Vivian at her studio. I choose you, she said. Vivian hesitated. You've said that before. Their embrace was tentative, shadowed by doubt. Family drama escalated when Ethan announced his wedding. Invitations arrived, with a +1 for Violet, but not Vivian. Dad's rule, Ethan admitted. Violet's fury boiled. Attending alone felt like surrender, bringing Vivian rebellion. She chose the latter, arriving hand in hand. Whispers erupted, Robert pulling her aside. You're embarrassing us. Vivian overheard, storming out. Violet followed, the night ending in accusations. You always fold, Vivian cried. The fallout was swift. Robert disowned her, cutting financial ties. Violet moved in with Vivian temporarily, but resentment simmered. Your family still controls you, Vivian said. Violet's job suffered. Prejudice from conservative clients led to demotion. Inner monologues tormented. Am I strong enough? A betrayal unfolded when Vivian confided in a friend, who leaked details online. Anonymous hate flooded Violet's social media, slurs, threats. Paranoia set in. Was society ready? She questioned her choices, the clock's gift, now a curse. Rebuilding began slowly. Violet sought independence, enrolling in night classes for a new career in counseling. Vivian supported, but cracks showed. Arguments over commitment. One night, Vivian admitted, I kissed someone else. The confession shattered Violet. Why? Because you weren't there. Pain pierced. Had her indecision driven this? Forgiveness teetered. Violet's mind whirled. Betrayal for betrayal? She walked out, wandering Boston's streets, contemplating the moral gray. Was revenge justified? Days after Vivian's confession, Violet crashed at a friend's couch in Somerville, her world in fragments. The betrayal replayed endlessly. Vivian's lips on another's, a dagger to their fragile bond. How could you? Violet had screamed, storming out. Now alone, she dissected her role. My hesitation pushed her away. But justification didn't ease the hurt. Calls from Vivian piled up, unanswered. Inside a war. Forgive and risk more pain, or cut ties and lose her soulmate. Society's lens amplified the drama. Friends divided. Some sided with Vivian, citing Violet's family ties as the root. Others condemned the infidelity. At work, a colleague outed her subtly, leading to awkward silences. Violet's resilience cracked. Therapy became a lifeline. Betrayal stems from unmet needs, the counselor said. Violet reflected. What needs did I ignore? Reconciliation attempts faltered. Vivian showed up at Violet's temporary job, eyes red. It was a mistake. I was lonely. Violet's heart wavered, but pride held. Mistakes have consequences. They parted, tension unresolved. Meanwhile, Elaine's health improved, prompting outreach. Come home, she texted. The pull was strong, familiarity versus uncertainty. Ethan's wedding loomed, a catalyst. Violet attended solo, Vivian's absence a void. During toasts, Robert approached. We miss you. Softened by wine, Violet opened up. I love her, Dad. For the first time, he listened, admitting fears rooted in his upbringing. A crack in the armor. I don't understand, but I don't want to lose you. Hope flickered, but skepticism lingered. Words or change. Post-wedding, Violet met Vivian in a neutral cafe. I forgive you, she said, but we need boundaries. Vivian agreed, tears flowing. Their reunion was bittersweet, shadowed by trust issues. Living together again, small conflicts arose. Vivian's jealousy of Violet's family reconciliation efforts. You're choosing them again, she accused. Violet countered. I'm building bridges. A societal confrontation hit when a local news story featured a lesbian couple's discrimination case, mirroring their fears. Violet joined protests, finding community. Vivian hesitated, her own past traumas surfacing. Abandonment by her liberal but distant parents. I don't want visibility if it means danger, she confessed. Their differences highlighted Violet's growing activism versus Vivian's caution. Moral dilemmas peaked during a family dinner Violet hosted, inviting both sides. Robert and Elaine arrived wary, Vivian tense. Conversations tiptoed around topics, but inevitability struck when Robert questioned their lifestyle. Vivian exploded. It's not a choice, it's who we are. The room fell silent, Elaine intervening. We're trying. Violet's mind raced. Progress or facade? The evening ended in uneasy truce, but damage lingered. Vivian felt exposed, Violet exhausted. That night in bed Vivian whispered, "Is this worth it?" Violet's doubt resurfaced. The clock promised soulmates, but forgot the trials. As months passed, stability emerged. Violet advanced in her new field, counseling LGBTQ+ youth, drawing from her pain. Vivian's art flourished, themes of love and loss. But undercurrents persisted. Whispers of Vivian's past fling, Violet's family pull. A pivotal decision arose, marriage. Vivian proposed impulsively. Let's make it official. Violet paused. Ready or rushing? Violet stared at the ring Vivian slid onto her finger in their cozy Cambridge apartment. The diamond catching the morning light. Yes, she said, but hesitation laced her voice. The proposal meant to solidify, unearth buried fears. What if family rejects this too? She thought, smiling through uncertainty. Vivian beamed, oblivious, planning announcements. But Violet's mind wandered to the clock's legacy, soulmates destined, yet fraught with trials. Preparations intensified drama. Telling her parents. Robert's silence on the phone. Elaine's forced congratulations. We'll attend, they said, but tension brewed. Society's gaze loomed, friends cheered, but online trolls emerged, fueled by a leaked engagement post. Violet's work suffered. A client questioned her stability. Inner turmoil peaked. Am I inviting more pain? Vivian's family, estranged, responded coldly. Do what you want, her mother texted. The rejection mirrored Violet's past, bonding them closer. But arguments flared over details, guest lists, vows. Include your parents? Vivian asked. Yes, Violet insisted, craving unity. Vivian rolled eyes. They'll ruin it. The wedding day arrived in a quaint Boston chapel, guests a mix of supporters and skeptics. As Violet walked the aisle, Robert at her side, emotions surged. I'm proud, he whispered, a breakthrough. Vows exchanged, rings on fingers, but midway, a cousin's snide remark reached ears. This phase won't last. Hurt flashed in Vivian's eyes. Honeymoon in Maine brought respite, but reality crashed upon return. Financial strains from disinheritance hit. Vivian's job loss added pressure. We can handle it, Violet said, but doubt gnawed. A major fight erupted over finances. Your family's money could help, Vivian snapped. Violet recoiled. Not if it means compromising. Betrayal resurfaced when Violet discovered Vivian had reached out to Robert secretly, asking for aid. You went behind my back? Rage boiled. Vivian defended. For us. The trust fracture widened, echoing past wounds. Separation loomed. Maybe we need space, Violet said, packing. Months apart, Violet reflected in therapy. The clock revealed love, but not the cost. Reconciliation came slowly. Mediated talks revealed vulnerabilities. Vivian admitted fears of abandonment. Violet, control issues. They reunited, wiser, but scarred. Years later, Their life stabilized, adopted a dog, built a home. Family ties mended imperfectly. Society evolved, but prejudices lingered. Violet counseled others, sharing her story as caution and hope. In the end, as Violet touched the clock again, now a relic in their attic, she wondered, was the revelation a gift or a curse? Did true love demand such sacrifice? Or was it society's chains that bound them? What do you think? Was Violet right to fight for her soulmate, or should she have chosen the safer path of denial?